Hey there, I am so excited to be talking to you today about the final stage of your final project. And I hope that after we go through this video that you'll have a better understanding of final project stage 3. Excuse me. Okay, so you are being released these directions in this session, session 12. And as with the other stages of this final project, you get released the project this week and then you get to work on it and then it's due the following week. All right, so that is similar to what stage 3 is. So I'm going to walk you through stage 3 and explain to you what you're supposed to do. However, there is a test, a small test procedure that you have to do inside of session 12. And when I say test, I don't mean take a test and answer questions. I mean, there is a short little video run through that you have to test and see if it works correctly inside of session 12. So I want you to be mindful of that. So stage 3, you get this week, you get to work on it this week, and then it is due in session 13, which is the following week. But you do have a item that has to be tested to see and make sure that it works prior to what is due in session 13. So let me go ahead and just jump in here and get started. All right, so I'm going to show you the grading breakdown. Stage 3 is kind of a culmination of all the things you've done thus far. You are going to submit your portfolio, which is the written portions, part 1 and part 2, that have been beefed up. I'll use the term beefed up. And then you're going to have a Google Slides presentation, and then you're going to have a video presentation. Don't get panicked. I'm going to go over all of that in just a moment. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about here on the screen is the social problem portfolio. And a portfolio is, in this aspect, is just going to be your part 1 and your part 2, or your stage 1 and your stage 2. Those documents, you're going to go back to them. You're going to revise them. You're going to organize them. So when I'm saying organize, I mean you're going to make sure that the font is all the same size, it's all the same color. You don't have massive spaces in between all your items. You're going to make sure that all of your test questions were answered. Some of you didn't answer your test questions. And you're just going to make those documents pretty. You're going to add to the information, especially in that section that ask you to analyze your social problem based upon those 3 theories. That section is going to be expanded. It's going to be bulleted. It's going to be, you're going to be explaining. So you're going to review this that's on your screen that tells you what to do in order to beef it all up. And you are going to be super proud of and done with stage 1 and stage 2. So that is all that portfolio is comprised of. When you are done with returning to stage 1 and stage 2 and beefing it up and making it look professional, then you're ready to turn that in, okay? Keep in mind that when I say you're ready to turn that in, I mean, if you were going to a job interview for a sociology job, you would be ready and willing to print those 2 documents out and hand them to the people that were interviewing you in order to say, I know what I'm talking about. All right, so that's what I mean when I say beef it up. Make it look good. Add to it, expand, and then turn that in. So you have a separate submission link for this, the social problem portfolio. There is a separate submission link in Moodle for that. So beef up stage 1 and stage 2 and turn it in to that submission link in session 13. The second part of your final project is going to be a Google Slides presentation. And when I say Google Slides presentation, I mean it has to be a Google Slides presentation. No PowerPoints. We're going to use Google Slides. Okay, so your presentation, and I'm trying to adjust where my camera is and where my screen is so you can see all of this at one time. Okay, so you are going to create a Google Slides presentation that essentially teaches about this social problem that you selected, that you've been working on, that you've been researching for the past month. You're going to add in this presentation your addressing of the social problem using the three main theoretical paradigms. Remember, this was what you did in stage 1, and this is what I said you go back to and beef up and do more research, okay? You can maybe do one slide that talks about conflict theory in your social problem, one slide that talks about structural functionalism in your social problem, and one slide that talks about symbolic interactionism in your social problem. I really want you to make sure that you are paying very close attention in final project stage 3 directions as to what you need to include. So you are going to also add the information about how that social problem negatively impacts families, and you are going to add ideas on how that social problem can be addressed or can be helped, okay? We are looking at a minimum of 6 slides, and I have that outline listed here. We are going to make sure that this is professional, so I don't want to see any texting language, no lowercase i's if it's supposed to be the word I want to see proper grammar, proper capitalization, proper spacing. This is going to be a professional presentation. So minimum of 6 slides, and this is the 6 things that you have to have. You have to have a title, okay? Now I should see your name on that title page, and I should also be able to tell immediately what your social problem is. So that needs to be included on your title page. I should have a slide about the conflict theory, analyzing your social problem through the conflict theory. I should see a slide about analyzing your social problems through structural functionalism, a slide about analyzing your social problem through symbolic interactionism. I need a slide on the negative impacts of the social problem on families, and then I need a slide addressing ideas on how to fix the problem, make the problem better, make it a more positive thing for families. So remember, everything that you're doing is centering around families in this class. You are allowed to use images or clip arts or whatever you feel like would aid in your presentation. Remember, in the first part of the class, I kind of did this one every week where I used images and I talked about each one of the topics that we were doing and how that relates to each theory. So if you want to, go back to session 0 or session 1 or session 2 and kind of look at some of my presentations, and that'll kind of give you a better idea of using images, okay? So if you are picking up a common theme here, you'll see everything in this presentation is stuff that you have already done because you have already typed this in to stage 1 and stage 2. So this should be no new information that you have to go out and find, except maybe some images. But you've already done this. So don't stress about this because you've already done the hard work. You've already done the research. You've already done the looking up. You've already done the typing in. All you have to do is take the information from stage 1 and stage 2 and put it into a presentation. Okay, that is part 2 of that final project. The Google Slides presentation has its own submission link in Moodle. So whenever you're done with that Google Slides presentation, you pop it into that submission link in session 13. And then finally, I am going to talk to you about the video presentation. And just the term video presentation sounds very threatening or big, and it's really not. So we're going to use a tool that is embedded in Moodle called VoiceThread. And you are going to essentially push the button. The camera is going to come on. You're going to talk to the camera. That's it, like I'm talking to you. And you are going to, no more than 5 minutes of talking, answer the questions that you see on the screen here. You're going to identify your social problem and tell me why you selected it. You're going to explain your social problem to me. Why is it a social problem? And then you're going to give me information on that social problem through those 3 main theories. All right? Again, you've already done this. You've already done the hard work. You're just opening up the camera and talking about it to me. And I want you to come on with one idea that you have to address the problem and explain that to me. Tell me why you think it will work. And tell me, is this a macro idea or a micro idea? And then you can just give me some interesting things about the social problem that you've learned through your research. So no more than 5 minutes. 4 to 5 minutes should be all you need to be able to do this. I would absolutely suggest that you make some notes on a piece of paper or make some note cards. You do not need to pull up your presentation and talk me through it because that is what you did in the Google Slides presentation. You just made that those slides and that information. That's all you have to do. So all I'm looking for number 3, which is video presentation, is you in the screen talking to me about your social problem. So I hope you see in stage 3 that there's no new stuff to figure out, no new stuff to go get and research and all of that. This is just kind of taking all the information you've gathered in stage 1 and stage 2 and making it in a professional format. The final project video presentation has its own link in Moodle. It's a VoiceThread link, and you are going to know how to do that because of the test VoiceThread that we are going to do in session 12. And that is in a separate video for you. So just reminding you, this final project, stage 3, is compiled of the social problem portfolio, which is stage 1 and stage 2, all fixed up and beefed up. It is going to be comprised of the Google Slides presentation that you create from the information you gathered in stage 1 and stage 2. And it is going to be a VoiceThread presentation of you in the screen talking to me about your social problem. So those 3 things are the final projects due in session 13. If you have any questions, reach out to me, let me know what you're confused about, and you and I can video chat or email back and forth, and I will do my best to answer all of your questions.